Taurus, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late July 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Taurus collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going. Guides and spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for Taurus here? What energies, messages, insights can we pull for our good friends? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card, then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you're calling in on, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Taurus, please. What is happening with my good friends in late July? It is Leo season, another beautiful time of year. What's happening with my good friends here? I mean, around by me, the weather's getting hot, but I know some people around the world it's getting cold, right? Okay, so, Ariel's here, the little mermaid herself, and she has been extremely popular across the zodiac this week. I saw her a bunch of times in like the fire and air sign videos, so she's in the mix for you as well. And I always say that this card, I like leading off with it, because to me it's really nice, and there's a beauty to it. Lots of in-depth energy here. It could be mental, and it could speak about your surroundings. But before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the July subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk about the Little Mermaid here. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen the Little Mermaid a couple dozen times, right? And I always say that when this card shows up, it's a very familiar story. But let's talk about the card a little more. Notice we have Ariel surrounded by all this gorgeous beauty, the nature that's underneath the sea, literally, but she also has her head in the clouds, so it's like she's half in, half out. So a big chunk of you in this time, just know that your mind might be going. I've been seeing that in earth signs. You might have a lot on your mind. You might be daydreaming a little bit. But what I think of here is somebody that has a future focus. Yes, she is surrounded by beautiful surroundings. She's happy and content, but there's more that she wants to do. There's somewhere where she'd rather be. So again, for a lot of you, there could just be a lot of thoughts playing as well. Now, that doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but I like seeing this future focus here where it's someone wanting improvement for the most part. So we'll just put her down right there. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say the first card here, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. Let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for my beautiful Taurus friends. Please, my guides. And yeah, while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. It was titled A Big Decision, a Choice. Now, for some of you, that might have been somebody else. For a portion of you, maybe you feel like you're at a crossroads of some sort. But it did come up pretty prominent within the reading last week that someone was at like a make or break point or mulling something over, making a big choice. So that energy could still bleed over for a couple weeks. Keep that in mind. So you might have a lot of big decisions coming down the pipeline. But let's see what shows up for you this week. As you know, energy is very fluid. It's never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or someone that you're linked to. Let's get it going. 3 cards for my beautiful Taurus friends. What's happening in late July? Quick, thank you. 4 of Cups. Yeah, so talk about imaginative and daydreaming. Both of these cards do fit that bill. Okay, we'll talk more about that 4 of Cups. It's not always a bad thing. It's just somebody in their head a little bit. And get that tucked in right by the amethyst. She could chill out right there under the tree. Under the sea and under the tree. Let's give 2 more. Thank you. Oh, okay. We have the High Priestess herself making an appearance here. Water sign type of energy. So you do have a lot of water energy around you so far. And we'll talk a little bit more about the elementals. Big card of mystery here. Let's get 1 more. What do we got? Thank you. Okay. All right. So we do have the 10 of Swords here on the back end. And that is something we'll keep an eye on. Again, this isn't something that completely trashes the reading. It could just be something that somebody's going through. Let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, then we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. So at first glance, elementally, I was already commenting that we have a lot of water with the 4 of Cups and the High Priestess on the front end. In divination and in tarot, like water generally represents the inner realm, imaginative, creative, but your emotions, your feelings. So they are heightened here. And even with the swords on the back end, that speaks of communication, but also the mind state. So notice there, it's all internal energy here. Now, a lot of times our energy is focused outwards and we might be looking at job, career, but there is a big effect on what's going on inside somebody. And we'll want to dig into this much deeper, especially with like the thinking. I'm picking up tons of it ever since that very first card. So let's go through piece by piece, really start to build this out. So position number 1, the 4 of Cups. Now, as I was mentioning, I always like to give everyone the positives and the challenges of a card. When in the challenges of the 4 of Cups, this could be somebody feeling a little discontent. This could be somebody that's, I mean, they're not super angry, they're not super sad, but they're not super happy either. They're kind of just chilling. Okay, there's not a lot of movement, not a lot of physical action with the 4 of Cups. Notice that this person is sitting there just thinking while the universe is trying to offer them something. So just know in this time, whether this is you or somebody else, there might be a very specific situation or person you have on your mind, or there could be somebody thinking about you. Now, in its roughest sense, sometimes it could be somebody going through like anxiety or nervousness. There's a little edge to this card. And again, I've been seeing that for the earth signs this week. There's like a lot of mental action going on. But when we talk about the positives of this card, again, it's very creative, whether it's problem solving or creativity flowing. This is really good, really in tune. In its positive sense, this could be somebody getting ready to make a move. They might not be moving yet. They might not be taking action yet, but they're getting ready. And the universe could be offering you something here, okay, especially with this card. Now, we'll talk about that a little more when we clarify it to see if it's going to be a challenge or an issue or something good. Now, moving to the center, we have a very intriguing energy with the High Priestess taking up the middle. You might be connected to Pisces here when this card is in the mix. I also give the High Priestess to all water signs. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. I feel like they all have a lot of the traits of the High Priestess. Now, if that's not the case, if you're not connected to a water sign, the High Priestess is the matron of psychics, intuitives, tarot readers. So your intuition is very key when this card is in the mix. So you could be extra sensitive to energies in this time, whether it's having like little paranormal things happening or just being affected by the energy of others. Could be very big for a lot of Tauruses in this time. Now, you might be sensitive just naturally. That might be something that's always been a thing for you, but I feel like it's heightened. Okay, so whether it's the energy of the collective, energy of people around you, energy of a very few people, or just the place you're in, just keep yourself energetically protected with her here. Very spiritual. So for a lot of you, there's good energy around diving into spiritual topics and practices, ritual, all that stuff. But she is a card of sacred knowledge as well, and she is keeping it hush. So when I see this High Priestess, I think of somebody keeping something quiet or veiling something. This could represent unexpected energy, surprising energy. So we're going to want to look at this much further. And I would say that's the big challenge with the High Priestess, is that, like, yeah, she's thinking and feeling a lot of things, but she's not letting on to what's going on, right? Like, she's not letting it out. Now, moving to the back end, we have one of the more challenging cards within the tarot deck, and I'm not gonna fluff it up too much here. All cards, again, have the positive and challenge aspects, but the Ten of Swords, it is seen as one of the more complicated ones. Classically, in its rougher sense, it could represent endings, it could represent loss, it could represent pain, whether physical or mental, somebody going through a very difficult time. So whenever this card shows up, it could represent a warning of some sort. And I will also say this, just know, if there is someone you're connected to that's going through some pain, that pain might filter over, okay? You might be feeling what other people are feeling here in a big, powerful way. So if you're generally like a happy, jolly type of individual and like you're getting sad for no reason, or you're feeling upset for no reason, somebody might be tugging at your energetic strings. But again, with the Ten of Swords, it can represent endings and pain of different types. The positives of the Ten of Swords tells us that there's nowhere to go but up. Okay, where something, whether it's a problem or situation, has got as bad as it's going to get, now there's only one way to go, and that's up. So we'll talk about that more when we clarify to see if it's a warning or even possibly something from the past. I want to dive deeper in all of it. Let's jump in and clarify. Let's get a good shuffle here for my lovely Taurus friends. Please, gods and spirits, do. And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Four of Cups. And yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Taurus, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, Four of Cups time. What's going on? What's happening with that Four of Cups? Thank you. Two of Swords. Wow, somebody could be like really, really confused or just really guarding and hiding something. Okay, something that they might be feeling. Now, I just want to mention this. I feel like the next two cards are going to be the cornerstones of the message itself. Because notice around this Four of Cups, this person not really doing much. They're keeping a lot on the inside. We have double cards of mystery, two of the biggest mysterious types of cards as well. So if you think that somebody is going to open up and just spill the beans and tell you what they're thinking and feeling, I'm going to say that is not likely with what I'm seeing here on the front end at the very least. But again, with the Two of Swords, aside from the mystery, the unexpected and surprising energy connected to it, it's a card of confusion. Remember, last week we saw an energy about decision-making, choice-making. And with this card here, it's like somebody can't make a solid choice. They can't make a decision. It's like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So there could be certain situations that might feel like they're in limbo, where it's like, all right, this needs to get solved and then we can proceed. It's kind of giving me that vibe, where someone might be feeling a little bit stuck. Okay, like, or it's like, I'm not sure what I need to do, or I'm not sure what to do. Okay, and again, that doesn't have to be you, but when I see the Two of Swords underneath the Four of Cups, there's not a lot of action and movement coming from this end. And it's a little secretive. I don't want to say that in a bad way. Let's keep moving, because I feel like the next two cards are going to be very important. So let's see why the High Priestess is in the mix. Why is the High Priestess here? Please. And again, just watch the overthinking, especially since we had Ariel in the beginning, now this alignment. I mean, easier said than done, right? Let's see why the High Priestess is here. Thank you. Okay, Four of Swords. And I want you all to notice that the variety, or the mass variety of this spread, still all water and swords, mostly swords. So there's a lot of mental action happening here. Even if there's not a lot happening in the physical realm, there's just so much happening in the mental realm. And I just want to point out again, especially with, in conjunction what we have here on the front end, this does feel like someone, and I saw it in the Virgo reading as well, that they could be very stressed, anxious, or nervous here, where it's just like heightened. So in this time, you might want to find some release valve for those energies. If that's you, if you have a lot on your mind, or you're feeling a little fidgety or on edge, Spirit wants you to find a release valve for that energy. However, on an intuitive level, aside from that message I just gave, when we have a card of mystery with the Four of Swords in reverse, which indicates action, someone making moves, this could be somebody making an unexpected or a surprising action. Okay, so whether we're going to see how it progresses, because right here in the front, I don't see a lot moving. But now with this Four of Swords in reverse underneath this, it's like, get ready for a surprise. Okay, hopefully it's a good one. Okay, I don't want to say whether it's, oh, this is going to be great or it's not, but it's like, all right, well, I never thought they were going to do that, or I never thought they were going to make a move. I'm seeing it here with the High Priestess, and your intuition will tell you. If you feel like something's coming, if you feel like something big is coming, I would follow that intuition. Okay, that's just a big thing that's showing up here too. So interesting that we have so much stuff happening here, and I think it ties in with what I was saying with the so much thought energy, because it's even making my mind go as I read it. Let's keep moving forward. Again, and we'll talk about that more with that High Priestess. There could be a surprising or unexpected action where someone does something and you weren't expecting it, but you felt it, like your intuition's trying to warn you. And another thing, double fours, we have a lot of similar themes here, a lot of omens, synchronicities, so pay attention to the signs from Spirit. Let's go in on that Ten of Swords, though. Then we'll do our recap before we get into the Shadow card. There's Ten of Swords here. Ten of Swords, thank you. Okay, so now, whereas we had so much hidden, so much mystery here, on the back end we have, again, another repeating number. In this time, it is very, very important to follow the omen, signs, and synchronicities, okay? Because we have two sets of repeating numbers. We have double twos, we have double fours. So for a lot of you, the intensity of seeing these number signs and synchronicities could be heightened. Now, I do feel that a lot of people, if you're spiritual in general, you're kind of always seeing signs here and there, but this feels like it's happening a lot more. Now let's talk about it. The Two of Wands, again, is another card of decisions, choices, being at a crossroads. This could be somebody, if they're not making moves as of right now, or they're not making a decision, they are absolutely trying to avoid a worst case scenario. And that kind of fits in with the overthinking and nervousness of some people, because sometimes you get caught in a thought loop where it's like, okay, well, if I do this, the world is over. If I do this, it's like worst case scenario. So I do feel like there could be somebody in that mind state where they feel if they don't do something just right, if they don't do it perfectly, it's like a wrap. They could be feeling that. Now, with the Two of Wands, it does have the similarities to the Two of Swords, but this one is more strategic. It's planning. Okay. Now, if you're dealing with somebody that is like extremely cautious, meticulous, detail oriented, I would say that's a good thing. Do I feel like this is a person planning on bringing in a Ten of Swords moment? I'm not going to say that. I don't feel like this is someone strategizing to bring this Ten of Swords pain in. To me, it's somebody strategizing and planning to avoid it. That's the vibe. It's like, okay, well, I'm planning, I'm thinking, I'm strategizing. I want to avoid this if possible. So this is a very complex reading this week, Taurus. Only take what hits for you. Please watch your other alignments as well. But let's go through and do a quick recap, because there's a lot of layers here, and I feel like if I keep reading, it's going to go on for like another 20 minutes. Now I don't want to do all that. Let's go through this, then we'll get into the shadow card though. Again, in this spread, there's a lot of signs, synchronicities, and omens. A lot of the elements are the same. We have the double fours, we have the double twos, so pay attention, because Spirit could be trying to get your attention. And I know that shows up quite a bit in Taurus readings, more than a lot of other signs. But we have the Four of Cups with the Two of Swords in the upright. And to me, there's a lot of secrecy around someone's thought process, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. And again, there could be some big confusion on someone's behalf, where it might feel like they're not really doing much, not really doing nothing. As we move to the center, that's where that energy tends to shift and change. We have the High Priestess with the Four of Swords in reverse, so an unexpected or surprising action where it's like, okay, I thought you were never going to do this. So someone might do something you weren't expecting in a very big way. They're going to make a move here. Okay, so even if things are stalled right now, it's not going to be like that permanently. Please follow your intuition, because that's another thing I was picking up. If Spirit's warning you, if Spirit's guiding you, just pay attention to that and trust your gut. Moving to the back end, we have the Ten of Swords with the Two of Wands, and I was speaking about this tense, anxious, nervous energy throughout this whole reading. I do feel somebody being very detailed and meticulous to try to avoid a Ten of Swords moment where it's like, all right, well, I've done that before. I don't want to do it again. So, and I'm not saying like this person's thoughts are unfounded. I just feel like this is someone that is going from 0 to 100, where it's like, all right, if everything's not perfect, if I don't do the exact right thing, worst case scenario, the sky's falling. So do with that information what you will, Taurus. Please take a screenshot. Let's get into the shadow card. Okay. So what is in the shadows for Taurus here, my guides and spirit team? And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end, just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be very good. So let's get your one. Oh, and yes, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. So let's get this shadow card out here nice and quick. What I got here for Taurus? Thank you. Temperance. Okay, and I like this shadow card. I really like this shadow card because I want to tell some of you, even though this illustration looks a little scary, Temperance is Sagittarius energy, and it usually has the Archangel Michael on it. So I want to reaffirm to a lot of you in this time, there is a lot of spiritual protection around you. Guides, spirit team, angels. So like there is this beautiful insulation, energetic insulation, and Spirit is watching over you when I see Temperance in the shadows, because it's an unseen protection, and that's really nice, especially with some of the difficulties we're picking up in the mix. Now, the simple message for Temperance could just be Spirit saying like, hey, Taurus, take a breath, stay calm, this too shall pass. But for some of you, now might just be a time for you to not make moves and let someone else. That could be a possibility. Just lay low, take it easy. You are protected, you are loved. So my friends, that's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give the details of the July subscriber surprise. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can check out my digital calendar at my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The link is down below, but for the July subscriber surprise, giving away 2 copies of another one of my favorite decks, the Wizard's Tarot. Absolutely beautiful and works great. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, since I have the travel bug lately, let me know down in the comments what is the most beautiful place you visited in person. You'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.